Welcome to chapter 4 of the Ashtavakra Mahageeta as compiled by me. He says, it means bondage when the mind desires something, or grieves at something, rejects or accepts anything, feels happy or angry with anything. And it means liberation when the mind does not desire or grieve, or reject or accept, or feel happy or angry. The verse says, Ashtavakra first gives Charak a severe test and is then obviously gratified with the way his disciple has reacted to the test and has stood his ground firmly and confidently on his apperception of the truth. Now comes the appreciation and encouragement from the Guru. Ashtavakra repeats the fact that the bondage lies firmly on the conceptualization by the mind. He makes it clear that even being happy can be a bondage, because such happiness is interrelated to the concept of unhappiness or being angry. It's totally different from the sheer pure joy of the state when the me is absent and there is no conceptualizing. There is happiness when the self is forgotten temporarily, as when your mind is engrossed in some activity, be it listening to the music, devotional or otherwise, or watching competitive sports, or having sex, or whatever. But this kind of happiness is temporary, and once such activity ceases and the cause of such happiness is no longer present, the happiness not only disappears, but sometimes gives way to depression. Abiding in the self without the mind doing its usual conceptualizing means peace and a deep joy, because it is not dependent on any material cause. The very nature of the natural state is at peace and joy. Material happiness is a pale reflection of this state. Ashtavakra makes it clear that the conceptualization is the result of the me wanting or not wanting something. And when the me is not there, there is no wanting or not wanting. And conceptualizing ceases, and this means liberation. This clearly goes directly against the usual advice given by organized religion to nuns. If such a religious person is asked why one should practice renunciation, the answer, whatever it may be, would be on the line that one should practice renunciation in order that one should get something, or other, sometime or other, somewhere or other. In other words, the renunciation is itself based on the desire of the me to achieve something. What Ashtavakra implies is that desire, the wanting, has to go. But it has to go by itself to fall off spontaneously as a result of understanding, and not as a deliberate volitional positive action. And the me with its wants and desires falls off by itself, and the mind settles into its source, the consciousness, the Satchit Ananda, into a state of no-mindedness, which is its wholeness and holiness, which is not tainted by any objective relationships. There is a conflict in the split-mind relationship of one object with another object. But the source of both being the same consciousness, there is no question of any conflict, and both are in a non-objective relationship in the undivided whole mind. The relationship between one split-mind object and another split-mind object is the samsara itself. The non-objective relationship in the whole mind is the nirvana, or the mukti, the moksha, or the ananda, Brahma. The non-objective relationship in its operation is what is known as witnessing, being aware without choosing or judging. सिर्फ साक्षी होना है हर एक चीज़ का, बिना किसी मतलब के, बिना किसी छेड़छाड़ के, जो है सो है. And then Ashtavakra continues, who will not attain tranquility who, seeing the diversity of opinions among the many seers, the saints and yogis, become totally indifferent. Intentions are the root of samsara. Therefore, the abandoning of the intention and volition means dispassion with the world, and then you can live anywhere. इंद्रियों से बंधन ही संसार है, और इस बंधन से मुक्ति ही वैराग्य है, जो मोक्ष और मुक्ति का सबसे पहला और आखिरी यंत्र है. Ashtavakra never allows the disciple to stray too far from the basic truth. And the root of the whole trouble is in getting involved in the thoughts and desires that keep arising. Such thoughts are based on the duality of interdependent opposites like pleasure and pain, happiness and misery. He points out that the very nature of the mind is to produce thoughts, and any kind of suppression can only make matters worse. All that can be done is to witness those thoughts and desires as they arise, and not get involved with them or in them. Such witnessing keeps you away from the identification with the body as a separate entity. The different phenomena in the universe are then seen as different combinations of the same 5 basic elements. Each phenomenon, each sentient being behaving according to its inherent nature and the conditioning to which it has been subjected. Thoughts into words, words into actions, actions into further thoughts, and that is the vicious circle of the samsara. Deep understanding reveals that the functioning of the total universe is based on duality, and that each phenomenon is actually being lived according to its inherent nature and subsequent conditioning in order to serve as the respective characters in this living dream. This understanding translates itself in actual life as witnessing. It provides the shield against all experiences in duality. Then the living becomes spontaneous, natural and non-volitional, nominal. This is all that the concept of enlightenment truly means. In other words, Ashtavakra says that with this understanding dawns dispassion. The word in Sanskrit that he uses is a beautiful word which has no adequate translation in English. He says udasin, seated in yourself, divya or udasin. The word is loosely used even in India in the sense of dispassion and lack of interest. The word means very much more. It means literally seated in the self, a totally different dimension from space-time duality. It is the center of the kshana, the here and now, the infinite intemporality, from where the continuous witnessing takes place of all the movements in the consciousness. Of course, such witnessing is absolutely without any involvement by way of judging anything. All thoughts, all actions, all events are part of the functioning of the totality, and there is no question of anyone judging any part of such functioning. This is itself the understanding. Ashtavakra finally concludes that when the being itself is centered in the here and now, the body-mind apparatus may live anywhere for the simple reason that the body-mind apparatus, freed from the desire and volition of the me, becomes the vehicle of the functioning of totality. In the following 8 verses, Ashtavakra summarizes the basis of true understanding, resulting in a certain type of conviction, which fundamentally precludes any kind of question and doubt, and thus results in what might be called non-volitional action in daily life. He says, in the conviction that continuous change and ultimate destruction after a certain duration is the very nature of all phenomena, the man of wisdom remains unperturbed, free from misery, and relaxed in his attitude. He says, in the conviction that the phenomenal manifestation has no nature than the noumenon, which is immanent in all the phenomena, the man of wisdom remains contented, relaxed with all desires, completely pacified and unattached to anything whatever. He says, in the conviction that adversity and prosperity come in their turn as effects of past actions, as casualty, the man of wisdom, contented with his senses and passive restraint, wants nothing and grieves for nothing. He says, in the conviction that happiness and misery, birth and death, are parts of the natural process of casuality, the man of wisdom, without any need to accomplish anything, is free from anxiety and does not identify himself with anything he happens to be doing. He says, in the conviction that it's anxiety and nothing else that is the root cause of misery in this world, the man of wisdom, with his desires annihilated, remains free from anxiety, happy and contented. He says, in the conviction, I am not the body, nor is the body mine. I am pure consciousness. The man of wisdom is indifferent to what has been achieved and what remains to be achieved, and lives in a natural state of non-volition, which is akin to the nominal state. He says, in the conviction, I am immanent in all phenomena, from Brahma to a blade of grass. The man of wisdom is free from any conceptualizing or objectivizing, indifferent to what has been attained or not attained, and remains contented and at peace. He says, in the conviction that this manifested universe, wondrous though it be in the variety and diversity of its phenomena, is truly illusory, the man of wisdom, without any desires, identified with the pure consciousness, remains in the nominal state of peace. So this is an extremely important set of 8 verses dealing with volition, desire, and what might be called non-volitional living. It will have been noticed that beginning with the general principles of phenomenal manifestation and relation of the individual with manifestation, Ashtavakra has now arrived at the most interesting stage of how the man of wisdom, the man of understanding, the Jnani, who has lost his identity as a separate individual, lives his life as an ordinary individual in the world. The conviction of the man of wisdom extends over the following aspects of understanding: continuous change leading ultimately to disintegration is the nature of all phenomena. The phenomenal manifestation has no nature other than the noumenon, which is immanent in all phenomena. Adversity and prosperity are interdependent opposites which appear alternately in life and are an intrinsic part of living. Happiness and misery, birth and death, and all other polaric contraries are part of the natural process of casualty. And anxiety is the root cause of misery in the world. I am not the body, nor is the body mine. I am pure consciousness. I am immanent in all phenomena, from Brahma to the blade of grass. This manifested universe, wondrous though it be in variety and diversity of phenomena, is truly illusory. The result of this 8-pronged conviction is that the man of wisdom remains unperturbed, free from anxiety and misery, contented and relaxed, without any more desires, indifferent to what has been achieved or attained, unachieved or unattained, and thus remains in nominal peace, identified with the pure consciousness, Were all desires, achievements, or their lack, attainments, or their lack, happiness and misery, boils down to is the matter of volition or intentions. The man of wisdom is wise to the fact that as an apparent entity he cannot live according to his own sweet will and pleasure. He is truly convinced that he is in fact being lived, that as such as an apparent entity he cannot possibly be the subject of objects. ऑब्जेक्ट्स यानी विषय, और इन विषयों का विष के समान त्याग करना ही परम सत्य है। और वे जनक से कहते हैं कि विषयों का विष के समान त्याग कर जनक, और सत्य, आर्जव, क्षमा, दया और संतोष का अमृत के समान पान कर। कि तू इन तत्वों से परे है, तू मुक्त है, तू ब्रह्म है। The apparent entity, a phenomenal object like all phenomenal objects, cannot have other objects as his objects. Thus, knowing what he is not, the man of wisdom knows what he truly is, that he is the pure consciousness. Knowing that he cannot live according to his will or volition, that he is in fact being lived as an instrument of the totality, he also knows the futility of his intentions. By abstaining from volition, the man of wisdom is free of anxiety and misery, because then he transcends conceptualization, which is the basis of volition and intention. Knowing that he is being lived, the man of wisdom transcends both volitional action and its counterpart, volitional non-action. Volitional not doing is also doing. It is for this reason that the man of wisdom goes about his business in the ordinary way, without any intentions, without any sense of doership, working mind. It is only the me concept that can have intentions, because will and ego are synonymous terms. Thus, the absence of volition in the case of the man of wisdom does not mean phenomenal inaction, but the absence of volitional action, positive or negative. The absence of volitional phenomenal action can only mean the presence of nominal action. In other words, the non-volitional action of the man of wisdom, whether perceptive, conceptive or somatic, is a nominal action, the non-action of the sage, because the me and his intention is totally absent. Enlightenment is the inevitable result of the absence of purposeful intentions. The absence of purposeful intentions means the absence of conceptualization. But thoughts as such are totally spontaneous and involuntary. The absence of conceptualizing or objectivizing by the man of wisdom means he does not judge other objects and other actions. The objectivizing of the sage or man of wisdom thus means perceiving objects as objects but not as his objects. He knows with the deepest conviction that neither he nor the others are separate independent entities, but that all are merely puppets reaching to external stimuli according to the psychic conditions which are beyond their control. Non-volitional living implying, of course, absence of both aspects of volition, being lived as a non-entity, is subjective or nominal living, in which, in the absence of the phenomenal me, there is no room for anxiety or worry. It is for this reason that often the very first overpowering effect of the happening known as awakening or reintegration is a sense of incredible total freedom. I conclude chapter 4 of the Ashtavakra Mahageeta. See you all with chapter 5 soon.